my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's insane. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Howdy, everybody. It's me, Jesse Blaze Snider. Welcome to Coolest Live. How you doing? Yeah, that's right. We're rebranding. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, our show's gotten to a certain amount of success, and like, I want to grow it. So I don't know. I'm working on things. If you have suggestions for me, write me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com. And yeah, I just want to keep growing the show. And part of that is expanding the reach and like the conversation of the show. And I'm going to save it until like we're fully rebranded and I've got like logos up and the new show description and all this stuff. But, you know, we're going to be just expanding the show's horizon a little bit, you know, with the main bit being music. I'm thinking that I'm going to be going like possibly 5 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday would be this show, this Wednesday show that I usually do. I think this is going to start coming out on Saturday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to do 4 a week of coolest picks, but I'm going to do more than just films and TV. I'm going to do films, TV, music, and comics. You know, great graphic novels and story arcs, stuff like that. I think another easy one to do. And like, you know, every week you'll have like 4 things to choose from in terms of movie, TV. I'll try to like make it all different. That's what I'm thinking, because those ones are relatively easy to record anyway. Because you know me, I don't like to like give away too much of the plot stuff. I like to just like recommend and talk about the people, or you know the whys of why I'm recommending it. But I feel like that could be really cool. You know, those episodes are great, you know, super digestible and like not super long. And then weekends I'll do a longer one, which will then also occasionally include music. And you know, there's some things that I do occasionally include anyway, but I'm just sort of opening it up descriptor wise, you know, fighting or really anything, you know, like, because I just want to do culture stuff, you know, I want to talk about the culture, you know, I think occasionally I'll do a spiritual show or whatever, but it'll just kind of, this is like opening up the branding of the show just a little bit in terms of, is it geek culture stuff? Well, we've always been like exploring the more popular culture side of the geek culture thing, but I feel like we can just explore all of culture and, you know, occasionally dive into a book here, or, you know, or I'll recommend The Hobbit or whatever. Yeah, I think that there's some other things that I'd like to do and like to talk about, and even as there's been less conversation within the media, or I should say less to talk about, less movies, less shows, less things of note. You know, for me, just like focused on geek culture stuff, but there are more things I'd like to talk about. So yeah, so that's what we're aiming at right now. I'm trying to figure out all that stuff. I'm still in the middle of doing, well, yeah, I guess right in the middle of doing my Kickstarter for my sound healing album. It's like soul rock, pop, blues. It's really great. It's all recorded in 432 and solfeggio frequencies, which are 9 different frequencies that they use in sound healing. It's really cool. This is a campaign for like limited edition versions of these things, but really like geared towards promoting just sound healing and like what it is, because a lot of people didn't understand what it was when I put it out in the first place. So you know, I decided if I was going to do something physical, I wanted to do this because I wanted to talk about the advocacy of all these things. So go to Kickstarter now. There's I think 14 days left, or 14 days today, and then we're all she wrote. Actually, technically speaking, you can buy some things after the campaign ends, but they're like a little bit more expensive and stuff. And there's some things that aren't available, so get them while they're hot. After this campaign, we're going to be launching our Sugar and Bones magazine, which is our answer to heavy metal. I think it's really going to be fucking awesome. I'm excited about that. And then after that, we're working on these hemp goblins, getting some hemp plastic into toys and trying to hopefully advocate for hemp plastic as a thing in the first place. Lots of fun stuff going on. Anyway, let's talk about something that there is to talk about, which is James Gunn's DCU. And maybe it's not going to go much further. It's been a weird launch, because they gave things over to him and there were still movies on the slate, to put out. They've got the Joker movie in an alternate universe with the big major failure of that sequel. And then they've got apparently the Batman with what's his face in its own universe. Pattinson's Batman, that's in another universe. And he was going to do his own Batman. And I think now, latest rumors are we're not going to see Batman for a minute or whatever. I guess they're trying to fucking figure out what they're doing with Batman. And they announced their initial slate, and their initial slate was not super. It did not set the world on fire, let's say that. And it really did not speak to fans intellectually who might see the building of some sort of DC universe that specifically we might like to see. Not to say that there wasn't a building of a DC universe in Superman that might be something we might like to see. But we'll get to that in a second. Prior to this, essentially of the James Gunn verse, you've got his Suicide Squad, coming in, being kept, and the first season of Peacemaker, which are both generally great. But the Superman movie, which we're now finding out came in, I think it was $42 million. 42 million short of its budget. That information just came out. It's I'm sure it's doing great on streaming. There's a lot of factors to take into consideration, blah blah blah. But it essentially what you would call a bomb at the box office when the movie doesn't make back its budget. So additionally, I would say that the reaction to Superman was middling to good. There was a lot of lowered expectations. I feel like people were like, oh, this is pretty, compared to so many things, that was pretty good. That was generally how I felt about it, but I was open to getting it to go a little deeper. Kind of the thing of all these movies like Spider-Man, whatever. I remember watching the first Spider-Man going, that's great. I'm glad people liked it. I want to get a little deeper, when there's more going on in his world because more things have been, added into the world. These things tend to begin relatively simply, and the deeper you get into the thing, the more interesting and complex so many of the stories become. And I find that interesting. So, I keep kind of waiting to get a little deeper into these shared universe affairs, especially at DC, and it never comes. So, I was encouraging of the thing, but first off, it didn't do great. If you want to compare it to freaking numbers of old and Man of Steel and stuff like that, it's not really a fair comparison. Even though on some levels it is. If you want to just go apples for oranges, the box office, in general, Hollywood is dead, man. Honestly, this should be this episode's title, fucking Hollywood is dead. I really, things like, I saw The Smashing Machine, I wanted to see The Smashing Machine. This movie said I wanted to see Superman. Not as many people saw it as I thought were going to go see it. Not as many people saw Fantastic Four as I thought might go see it. I don't know, I thought more families would show up. But that didn't seem to be the case. Sorry, still getting over being a little sick. It's really hot out there for a pimp. It's really kind of crazy to me, the level of yawn that the mainstream audience has become to film in general. I really like going to movies. Me and my girl like going to movies. She's obsessed with popcorn, so it's like any excuse to go and sit and eat some popcorn. Her and I have like Regal passes, and we'll go see movies like all the time. But I'm in New York right now, so her and I haven't been seeing a bunch. But I've seen a few lately. One battle after another, which I fucking walked out of, and then Smashing Machine, which I saw with my son, which is I'm not going to do Smashing Machine as like a pick. I'm probably going to do the documentary, The Smashing Machine, as a pick. And in fact, that is what I'm going to do for Saturday's coolest pick. The Smashing Machine documentary is dope. Maybe I'll rewatch it. I've been wanting to rewatch it. Documentary is awesome. The movie, yeah. The general malaise of people to whatever the entertainment industry might be cooking up is really becoming obvious, and the pattern that Hollywood has been in, for forever, has just been to spend and spend and spend, and the solution to everything was just to spend money. And that it's going to be a blockbuster. Look at how much money we spent on it. But the more money you spend, the more money basically gets embezzled in Hollywood. So these budgets soar, and it's just really like people fucking taking advantage of these studios and the big money that's being thrown around town and whatnot. And these recent budgets, like Fantastic Four, all of them, the way they've been making their movies, to like do them quick, like so willy-nilly, like just rewriting them and not working with like an exacting thing and going in and doing reshoots and all this stuff. I mean, there's just been so many major financial disasters for them. I mean, just over and over again over the past half a decade. And here we go again. Superman, they spent more money than they said. And ultimately, $42 million was left on the table, as they say. Or $42 million left on the table. Is that appropriate? Yeah, I think that is. I'm trying to get the exact numbers for what that means. I don't know if Superman is still. I'm searching up for something. Yeah, see, I don't see him in here now. $42 million is nothing to sniff at, of like a loss in theaters. And granted, we don't know the numbers on streaming. However, generally speaking, when they don't share the numbers for streaming, that tends to be a sign that they're not necessarily proud of them. So I'm not thinking this thing's had a massive streaming success. Worldwide, Superman made $615 million at the box office. Okay, and just for those of you who want a comparison, Man of Steel made $670 worldwide. So, only 50 million more. I think they did a lot better internationally. What is it, 261 for the most recent Superman? And it's 379 for the Superman after that. Like the domestic run of Man of Steel, it made 291, and the new Superman made 354. But, let me just see. If we put it, because if you consider inflation, what is the box office for Man of Steel, taking into consideration inflation? It was released in 2013. Its domestic gross was $291 million. Its worldwide gross was Its worldwide gross was $670 million. What would that be in today's numbers? So let's see if we get an accurate thing. Usually So I just gave it. So that's Man of Steel 2013 versus now. And you're going, what did we say? Man of Steel 291 versus 364, I think, or something like that. 354. So almost 60 million difference, better for this Superman in 2025 domestic. But the other one did a lot better internationally. So it says the short answer, about 405 million domestic. So with inflation, by yesterday's standards, Man of Steel beat this by $50 million domestically. And that's 930 million worldwide. So that means it beat it by 315 million all told worldwide with the inflation built in. So, it's like I said, it's a different world. It's a different world than where you come from. There are some big adjustments that need to be looked at. And I urge you guys, like people who really want to like understand this stuff even better, like follow some of the channels on YouTube like Valiant Renegade or WDW Pro. They really probe the numbers and look at these things in a very meaningful way. And sorry guys. And you should be able to get a better idea, because the breaks between movie theaters and film studios, like the splits, they're favoring the movie theaters now. Because things have been the way they have, and internationally, like what they actually make back when they say these numbers, like these numbers are impressive to say, but an educated consumer knows that there's a lot more going on there, and like what they're actually making, well, it's not quite that, but they get to say this, but it really translates to a lot less. So Superman movie comes out. This is like the big line in the sand, even though we had Creature Commandos, which I didn't get a chance to see. And it's largely good. Largely fans like it, but they spent too much and they didn't quite make enough money. And we're not sure how great they're doing in streaming right now. They certainly probably are not thrilled with it, because we haven't heard any sort of announcement of how brilliantly it's been doing. Additionally, it teases Supergirl at the end of the movie, right? And then the Peacemaker season 2 comes in a punch-in, reshooting the end of Peacemaker season 1 to correspond with the new Justice League that they've invented in their universe, opening things up to an alternate universe, which audience generally has a lot of mixed feelings on, him being in a Nazi universe. It's just like that word is thrown around so much lately, like hyperbolically against people, that it's not fair to call them that. So people are a bit sensitive of that thing. And, I liked Peacemaker. Okay, the last episode of Peacemaker this new season was particularly terrible, like really bad. I liked the show. Okay, I didn't like it as much as I loved the first season. The first season I thought was great. Honestly, compared to the first season, I think the second season is total crap. But I did enjoy it, elements of it, for the most part. But when it came in for a landing, it was awful. And they really tied it tightly into Superman in like down to the fact that they're working on one of the Superman sets in Peacemaker season 2. And the season opens with an orgy, like a bisexual orgy, penises all around. My buddy Digger, who loves that kind of stuff, was thrilled with it. At the same time, I was like, I'm really nervous about how the separation of tones here within the Superman universe and within the Peacemaker universe, because I like and enjoy Peacemaker and its irreverent sense of humor, but I don't want Superman to be like that. And one of my first indicators that perhaps that was going to be the case, and the opening episode of this season did rather well, and that means that a lot of people saw it. considering that many people saw the first episode and didn't come back, I mean, I almost want to rewatch the first episode. But one of the things that I remember from it, I'm pretty positive, was a conversation between Max Lord, played by Gunn's brother, Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl. And now, Guy Gardner is a character that I love from the comics. And it's because he is different than all of the other heroes who generally are much more stoic. There are not a lot of people like him who are just assholes, blowhards, whatever else. He is unique in that way. Not in James Gunn's universe, it would seem. Hawkgirl is a fucking asshole, idiot, like, I don't know what the hell's going on with her. Nothing good. I really like Hawkgirl. Was my least favorite thing in the Superman movie. And she is being a douchebag while they're talking to Peacemaker. He's auditioning for the Justice League or whatever. And even him auditioning for the... They're talking shit. You hear all these things they're saying. They're rude. It's one thing for Guy Gardner to be rude. He's supposed to be the rude one while other people are trying to be kind and reasonable. And it was just three rude assholes talking in a room. And then, and I was like, oh man, like that's like a bad omen for things to come. Like this sort of energy can't be the majority of the superheroes in James Gunn's universe. That is going to erase the coolest, most amazing thing about DC Comics characters, which is like the fucking majesty, the chivalry. It's cool. Like, whoa, this man, you will believe a man can fly. Like when it's done right, it's awe-inspiring. That's how it should be done. And this is we're a bunch of dickholes who are just like you. And granted, that has been done and gets done here, there, and can be done in great ways. But it's not done in the way where everybody is Guy Gardner. That is, I think, a recipe for disaster. And going later into the season, they actually bring Lex Luther into the show for a cameo, and to get out of jail sentence or something, reduce his sentence or whatever. And one of the characters from the movie that works with him, and they're working on the set using some of the same technology from the Superman movie, and now they've got. I guess I won't spoil what little fucking, fun there is to be had in it. Or should I? All right. If you don't want to hear, just go, no, for like, just give me 10 seconds. They may, in 3, 2, 1, they make this, they steal this portal thing that Peacemaker has, and now they're using it. They found a place that's like empty where they're going to make it a prison, and they put Peacemaker in the prison. So, but the last episode is one of the least, it's like the most anticlimactic final episode of a TV show ever. I mean, granted, final episode of a season. It was just like, ugh. It ends on some interesting things that make you go like, well, that's interesting. Like, couldn't they have done that or something? Could they have done any of this stuff sooner? But it was really not great. And Peacemaker, even though it started out well, it fell off the map. It's not any on like it did well the first season. It was popular, and this season, for whatever reason, is not doing well. It's a middling amount. It's not showing up in the top 10, and they're not announcing any of like how good it's doing or whatever else. And the ending amongst like fans and people watching, we hated it. I mean, Digger, who, like I said, really loves Peacemaker, loved this season. He just went, oh God, it's really terrible. They really blew it. And then I went in having had like a lot of different people, friends and various YouTubers and whatnot, like sort of say this was terrible. I didn't like spoil the whole thing for myself. I don't think so. I don't think I went in with a lot of like knowledge of it. But my expectations were super low. I was expecting that it wasn't going to be good. And still, as we were watching, I was just sort of like, because I didn't want to be negative right off the bat, but there was just a bit of dialogue right at the beginning that was just like some quippy. It was just not funny, not good. And as it went on, it got to a certain point in time where I was like looking at the clock, like how much time is left on this, and like going, okay, there's still some time for them to do something, because like they're like running out of time. They're wasting a lot of time. In fact, I've got a little bit of a personal connection to this episode. My father's song "We're Not Gonna Take It" is used. The ballad version is used in the final episode of the show, and it's used in one of the most boring, poorly shot scenes ever. Like really, it was like, what a disappointment. We're Not Gonna Take It's going to be in Peacemaker, and it was just like the girls sitting around a table chatting. It was like, I was just like, what the, like, fuck, shit sucked. And then I said something to Digger of like, I pulled up the time again the second time, and the second time I pulled it up, he said, yeah, but it's coming to an end. And I'm like, what do you mean it's coming to an end? It's just got like 15 minutes. He says half of that's behind the scenes for this episode. And I was like, you're kidding me. Nothing has happened. Nothing's happened this episode. Like, he's like, yep. Like, it was terrible. It was like, what? This is it? This is the end of the show? Really, like, it was just, it was bad. It was bad. So you've got Superman not making its budget back at the box office, $42 million short. You've got Peacemaker coming in hot with a good season opener and then falling off the map completely thereafter. And now you've got the next two DC films on the docket. You ready for this? This year, coming to theaters, you've got Supergirl, which shares the same budget as Superman, and Superman lost $42 million. And then a film about Clayface. I don't have a lot of faith in these things. I mean, Penguin was great. And, the first Joker was great. But the second Joker sucked. And the Joker and Penguin are in different universes. What universe is this Clayface in? I mean, I really just, I love Clayface, but I'd like to see him, I don't know, in a Batman movie. It's just not too much to ask for. So what's the final possible nail in this coffin here? Because, who knows what might happen. I think there's a good chance they might stay the course with James Gunn if what is being reported in it's like a rumor is well, actually I should say the main part of it isn't a rumor. Warner Brothers and HBO and it's become a big conglomerate of companies, and they're getting sold. They're getting like broken off from its, I don't know if it's the Paramount Plus or this. It's complex. I haven't thought about the whole situation in a second, but it's become this like really massive company. And David Zaslav was brought in. He's the one who brought in Peter Safran and James Gunn to run the DC films division. And like I have a show that I do through Discovery, which is Food Paradise. Next up on Food Paradise, we got burgers the size of your head. And we haven't done an episode in like 3 years or whatever because of all the reshuffling that's been going on at this company. And like I said, I think AT&T was involved or is involved or was involved. It has become like this big thing, and it's about to be like split up and sold and whatnot. And when this sale happens, they're saying, or the rumor is that James Gunn and Peter Safran are out, and it's going to be handed over to somebody else at DC. So that would be like the fourth fucking DC production shuffle in 10 years. It's crazy. However, the press in general has been really down on James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe. Honestly, not that I've been like that. Like, I'm hoping for the best, and I like James Gunn as a creator. But so many of the things that have come along from the products that we've gotten so far and the announcement of these things, like, first and foremost, Clayface was not announced in that group. And apparently multiples that had been announced in that group have been canceled. So, like, it's just such a weird, shaky beginning for this thing. I would like to see it have a minute to, try some stuff and maybe have some success. But will it come down to, well, we've sold the thing and now we're going to, I mean, granted, when they sell the thing, the decision will be in somebody else's hands. So will they decide to stay the course with these numbers? I mean, because that's really what it becomes. Will they decide to stay the course even though they're going to see, at least superficially, and again, you can make all the arguments on behalf of all this stuff you want. Superficially, Superman lost $42 million. Superficially, Peacemaker Season 2 came in hot with its best ratings to date, and then second episode on never showed up again in the Nielsen and was largely lambasted and maligned, especially by the end, by the final episode, by the main audience, the audience that talks about such things, that cares about such things. So you're coming into the situation with that. Then additionally, how long does it take for this sale to happen? Has Supergirl come out by then? How does Supergirl do? Digger and I were talking about it yesterday. He seemed to think Supergirl might do really well. And I said, yeah, but is it going to be, because he's like, it's gonna be a real good girl power kind of thing. Like, I think it'll appeal to the girls. And I said, I think you might be right if they had done it the right way. Like I said, I see the vision that you're talking about. I said, I could see them making something cool like that would appeal to girls. However, I also have this thought that what just happened with Superman and Peacemaker, it's like all one universe. There's Lex Luther tied to this is tied into this. And that I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of cameos from other heroes and other things, like to get the boys to come or whatever else. And I think that's going to turn off the female audience because it's going to muddle the thing that's being sold to them as a possibility, even if they do get that like chic Supergirl for the girls, Supergirl for the ladies. If they get that right, I think they might cancel it out with all the tie-in universe stuff because the girl's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Who cares? I didn't see Superman. Blah, blah, blah. Can they overcome that? Will they overcome that? If they don't, if this ends up being if it performs similarly, I think they'll consider it a success. And similarly, $42 million. So, like, can it do better than Superman is really the question. I suspect it won't do quite as good as Superman. Just, my guess, it's not going to do quite as good as Superman. So does that mean it's going to be $84 million that is lost from the budget because the budgets were the same for the movie? Or say it breaks even, it's still $42 million behind. So then we'll have two movies like that. And how does it do on the thing? How is it reviewed? Like, a lot of factors are going to take into place here depending on these things. But I tell you what, Clayface, I hope they didn't spend too much money on that movie because I do not have a lot of faith in that one. And that depending on how long this sale takes or whatever, they may wait and see. Are they still letting James Gunn spend a lot of money right now? Something tells me they have stopped production on a lot of things. I believe that based on this performance, based on everything going on right now, I bet there are things that are like on their way in the future that they've said, let's put a pin in this for now and let's focus on making these other things great. And that's a good idea because I think the future of the DCU on film has never been wobblier. Has never been wobblier. Has never been wobblier. I can't say it. That's pretty funny. Have never been wobblier. Have never been wobblier. And we really should pay some close attention to what happens in the next year, of whether or not this is going to develop into something good. I think we'll probably hear a lot more rumors between now and then, but I think it'll all come down to Supergirl, and that's going to be a tall order for Supergirl to do better than Superman. It's like, in the comics, that never happens. So really going to have to create some magic in a bottle. Maybe they will. I love the actress that they've got playing her. I mean, I'm down for a Supergirl that's a little bit more like exploring herself and whatnot. I think that could be fun, especially if ultimately she's coming around to learning lessons, So anyway, that's all I've really got to say about it. The situation is not great, to say the least. Will Gunn be in this chair this time next year? It's definitely a question for me. I'm not sure. I mean, would I keep him around? Yes, probably with a little bit more guidance. But yes, they got to stay the course on some things so that they can do some things that the audience has always wanted to see. And I'd like to see these things. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm going to do that Smash Machine documentary episode for Saturday's episode. Just check that out. The documentary's awesome. Working on shifting everything over for Coolest Alive as the rebrand for the show. I hope you guys who have been listening will also listen to some of these music episodes and things when I go a little bit off course. I mean, I'm just sharing things that I love. So, I know you, if you're out there, I know it's because you love things. And I got more things that I love that I want to share. So we're just kind of opening up the door to that. Anyway, I'll see you on Saturday, and I hope you'll join me again next Wednesday for another fucking awesome episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. I love you, and please back our Kickstarter. 14 days left. Sound, healing, frequency, music, Jesse Blaze Snider. Just type in my name, and it'll come up on Kickstarter. 14 days left. Please back us up. Love you guys. Peace.
Hey, it's my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's insane. It's gonna be fucking awesome.